Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Here in front of, well, the Bismarck, where we talk to Linkstaff to start our Stormblood Culinarian quest. Good timing, lass. Best someone calling as wants to meet our most decorated chef. That's you daft sod. Your sickening modesty aside, your visitor says he's an adventurer took up cooking on the side, not unlike your good self. Owing to that, he sees you as something of an inspiration. Anyway, be a dear and go and say hello, would you? You'll find him out by the dining area, a brawny sort of bloke named Rolf. By Welga, it's really you, the famous Serenia Shadowstar in the flesh. I first heard about you through your adventuring exploits, and I was already plenty impressed. But then I learned that you were a renowned culinarian besides, and I knew I just had to meet you. You see, for a time I was trying to make my way as an adventurer and a culinarian both, but it soon became apparent that I was spreading my limited talent too thin. So I decided to kiss the adventuring life goodbye and took up a post at Miss Rowena's cafe at Revenant's Toll. The thing is, with or without distractions, it's not easy to succeed as a chef. It's a crowded profession, I'm sure you can appreciate, and if I'm to make a name for myself, I can't be making what everyone else is making. Nay, I need to venture into unexplored territory. To that end, I came up with a brilliant idea. I'd incorporate Far Eastern dining into our menu and cater to the Roman residents of Revenant's Toll. Promising, right? Right. The thing is, brilliant idea or no, it's not easy to learn a foreign cuisine, and Far Eastern is about as foreign as they come. It's plain I'm going to need help, and of a well-traveled sort, and so I decided to turn to the most accomplished adventuring culinarian I know. You, Serenia. Now I realize you're a busy woman, and we've only just met. If you say no, I won't think ill of you, but if you'd be so kind to help out a brother, I'll be waiting for you at Revenant's Toll. Okay. Far Eastern cooking. Probably in the upper floor because cooking. What? Right. You came. I didn't have my hopes up, but you really came. To have the help of an accomplished culinarian like you is a dream come true. Thank the 12. And thank you. Without further ado, let's get right to the cooking, is what I'd like to say, but I still need to decide on a Far Eastern dish to test out. If you could wait a while, I'll look into what the Domans have a hankering for. I have connections, so it shouldn't be difficult, but until we have the name of a dish, please feel free to go about your business. Again, allow me to thank you for your help, Serenia. It's a great honor to be able to work with the only person in history to score a perfect 10 in the Delamant Door. Though I may not be in the same class as you, not even close, I promise to do my best I can and pull my weight. Serenia, good to see you again. Since last we spoke, I managed to learn a little about the local Doman's culinary preferences. Pretty much all of them are sick unto death of bread in their lunches, and they miss nothing more than rice, the staple of their homeland. In particular, they want to eat the steamed stuff made into convenient balls. The Doman name is onigiri, which I'm told roughly translates to honorably squeezed. Well, if it's just a matter of squeezing honorably, I thought I didn't have need to trouble you. As a matter of fact, I've already tried my hand at it, using rice supplied by an adventurer friend. I was quite pleased with the result too, but then I gave it to the Domans, and let's just say their opinion of it wasn't as high as my own. I don't know what I did wrong. I made the rice balls exactly as described, but there must be more to it than meets the eye. One thing is certain though, if I can't squeeze a decent ball of rice, I don't have a future in Far Eastern cuisine. Here's where I need your help, Serenia. Polite people as they are, but Domans won't give it to me straight what is wrong with my rice balls. Do you think you could go and ask Grandmeister it? Okay, let's ask around what's wrong with his rice balls. The strapping gentleman's rice balls. While he was kind to make them for us, he needs to show the same kindness to the rice. He squeezed his balls with such force, the texture was fairly crushed out of each grain. Okay, crushed what? Ah yes, Master Wall's rice balls. It was not a terrible first effort, but if I may offer some advice, he would do well to use less water in the cooking. And in the shaping, imagine that he's grasping not only grains of rice, but air as well. You wish to know what was wrong with the rice balls? Well, Bear was expecting the taste of home, but it turns out to be utterly foreign. Whatever seasoning was used, it completely masked the natural taste of rice. Not to sound ungrateful, of course. Okay. Too much seasoning, too much force, and too much water. I'll be damned. I assumed you squeezed in order to keep the grains together, but it's plainly not that simple. Nor is it enough to simply cook the rice. You need just the right amount of water. As for the taste, I thought that salt alone was dull, so I came up with a brilliant idea of adding a hint of, wait for it, a Far Eastern seasoning. To have it called foreign is salt in the wound, pardon the pun. Well, it seems I got just about everything wrong, but I dare say you fare better, Serenia. While the comments are still fresh in your mind, do you think you could try making some rice balls? I have all the ingredients you need here, and Poppin there has more of the same. Well, Wilmot, good madam. Poppin's the name, and I have charge of our stores. I've never had the occasion to handle Far Eastern ingredients before, but rest assured, I'm eager to learn. When the rice balls are ready, please bring them outside. I go around and give us some Domans in the meantime. And this time, we'll make sure they leave with smiles on their faces. And as always, crafting in Stormblood. Come. Button. Here, story. And we get all the ingredients we need. I've gathered the Domans and they're eager to sample your handiwork. Thank you. I'll pass these out straight away. Now that was a rice ball. There's nothing like rice to give you strength for a hard day's work. It was wonderful. Every bite called to my mind's eye images of my faraway home. Both the steaming and the shape were done to perfection. Well done. By the 12th, This is amazing. I can taste it. Of a sprinkle of salt draws out the sweetness of a rice. By adding spices, I unwittingly killed those natural flavors. And this fluffy texture. This is what it means to grasp not only rice but air as well. Gently joined as they are, the grains retain their fresh steam plumpness and break apart at first bite. Such a simple thing, yet so good. You truly harness the best qualities of rice. Such is the spirit of Far Eastern cuisine, to respect each ingredient and allow it to shine. Forgive me my interruption. My name is Anzu, and I wish to thank you for assisting Ralph. Anzu, you shouldn't be here if we're seen together. What was I to do? I was worried. However, I see now that I needn't be. You're clearly in good hands. Returning to the matter, the rice sports were a rousing success. Let's continue this back in the kitchen, shall we? What was that about? Sorry for being run over by a dragon. Using your sample as a guide, I'm going to begin serving rice balls at the restaurant. This marks our first foray into the Far Eastern cuisine, and I couldn't have done it without you, Serenia. Thank you. And before you go off, I probably should tell you who that girl was. Ansu's my fiancée. During my adventuring days, I'd often come here to trade tombstones. Here I first met her and kept meeting her until one day I popped the question. But there's something of a complication. But that's enough about me. Now, while the rice ball is a fine start as all it is, I intend to put out more and more Eastern dishes. And I hope I can continue relying on your help in the days to come. Quality assurance, which increases the chance I get high quality. Obviously, I already have one. Serenia, how are you? Since we began serving rice balls, I'm pleased to say we have been fairly flying out of the kitchen. The Domans can't get enough of them, and it's all thanks to you. Of course, it was never my intent to rest on these laurels. I've been exploring new Far Eastern dishes, in the course of which I caught wind of a common complaint among elderly Domans. It seems the rich and greasy foods found in Eorzea tend to wreak havoc with their stomachs. For such a complaint, I'm told a dish called udon is what the healers ordered. It's a bowl of noodles in a light and warming broth that's easy going down, and I'd like to try serving it up for the old fountains. The key to this dish is the broth called dashi, which, as far as I can decipher, means exit juice. I'm sure it sounds more appetizing than Doman tongue. The peculiarities of language aside, dashi is made from boiled dried fish, and it's supposed to be the base for many Far Eastern dishes. Now, last time I learned all about the importance of respecting ingredients and letting them shine. With that in mind, I want to source the best dried fish possible, which means we're going to Limsa. When we arrive, let's first visit the Bismarck and consult Guildmaster Linksav. He'll know where to point us. I'm wondering, fish isn't fish. There are differences in flavor between fish. Do we need something particular? Dried fish to make broth for a Far Eastern dish, you say? Then your best bet would be using the authentic stuff. Just so happens a Kraken ship recently seized itself an Imperial merchantman way out east. One was carrying all sorts of exotic goods. Might be as a kind of the red fish you're after among them. If that's the case, reckon Caroline would be willing to cut you a deal. Why don't you go and have a chat with a bloke? Right then, let's go to the 7th stage. The ship resist I. As a matter of fact, I was carrying some unusual cargo, among which I seem to recall some manner of dried fish. It seemed not like to fetch any coin, however, so we offloaded it in order to free up the hold for more valuable plunder. Lady Infernal happened to pass by, so we made a gift of it to the Sanguine Sirens. And we undiscerning fools as that they are, they accepted it without question, so if you want your fish, you need to speak with a captain. The ever uncouth Rothven. Well, looks like it's off to the missing member for us. That won't be easy. Captain Rothven is not exactly the nicest person, but maybe my acquaintance with Melkoko might help. You heard right. Cavalin gave us foodstuff from a ship seized. Far Eastern delicacy worth its weight in gold, he said. But what do I find when I pry open the crates but fish what's dried up harder than a plank? I should have known better than to trust that lying horse, son. That's it, the fish we're after. The Domans call it katsuyobushi, and you boil shaved strips of it to get broth. Will you sell it to us, Captain? Sell it to you? Can't well sell what I don't have, now can I? Worthless as it looked, I had my girls throw it overboard, but now I find myself forgetting it. I should have had onto the fish so I could shove him up Cavalin's ass. See how he enjoys his Far Eastern delicacy. Looks like there's nothing for it but to go to the Far East. What am I going to do about the cafe? I can't leave it unattended. Excuse me, Serenia. As usual, I couldn't help but overhear the captain's impassioned rants, and I'm happy to say I have the dried fish in our storehouse. Must be he hardly ever comes to visit, you see, so I adopted a little kitty to remind me of him. And it just so happens he loves dried fish more than anything else. I've since discovered that a cat is far better company than some self-centered piece of turd who ain't never around. What were we talking about now? Right, dried fish. Any friend of Serenia's is a friend of mine, and you're welcome to as much of it as you need. Please help yourself. Really? We're in your debt. Serenia, I'll go grab the fish. See you back at Revenant's toll. Such dedication to his craft. Why, it's as if there's more than what's driving him than the cooking alone. As if there's love? Just a woman's intuition. Okay, right, let's get to work on the udon. Serenia, I'd like you to take shavings from the katsuobushi and boil it to make the broth. Meanwhile, I see to the noodles. It's supposed to be hard physical work, but I'm nothing if not strong. Popin has more ingredients in reserve, so let him know if you need anything. Shall we then? Where would you get two excellence at once? The noodles are just about to be done. How's the broth coming along? Wonderful. All that's left is to combine the two, and then udon will be ready. I'll have the elderly Domans come over to sample it right away. That's a tasty bowl of udon. The broth was good to the last drop, and light and gentle as it was, I dare say it'll be good all the way through me. I didn't think I'd get to eat udon again before I died. Brings a tear to my eye. Thank you, young ones. Thank you. reckon we can call that a great success. Now I can offer udon on the menu with confidence. Well, well, I heard that any was undertaken to serving Far Eastern cuisine. To think that it was you. Father? You will not call me that. You're no son to me. I will not give my precious daughter to some vagabond. But I've given up adventuring. That's what I do now, all that I intend to do, and I'm learning how to make Far Eastern cuisine for the Doman people. And a noble adventurer making our noble cuisine? I would be laughing were the idea not so absurd. Before you pass judgment, please sample my udon. Unsan-san. I made it together with my fellow adventurer here. Doubtless will be just a rude bastardization. Considering it was made by an outsider, the broth was respectable. The flavors are well balanced as plain care was taken in the boiling. The noodles, on the other hand, soggy rubbish. There's no body to them at all. They're soft and spineless, the very personification of their maker. You're worthless, little as an adventurer and even less as a culinarian. I'm sorry you had to see that, but at least now you know what the complication is. Anzu's father, Unsan, is as traditional as they come and refuses to accept a vagrant adventurer like me for a son-in-law. It was to gain his approval that I gave up the adventuring life to focus on cooking Far Eastern cuisine. The problem is Unsan himself is a chef of no small renown, who had his own prestigious restaurant in Doman. From the first I knew it wouldn't be easy to impress him, but to be on the receiving end of such scorn is disheartening to say the least. In the end, though, he spoke the truth. I'm not worth a damn as neither adventurer or culinarian. A far cry from you, Zeranium. Even so, I won't let it end like this. I won't give up. No matter what it takes, I will succeed as a culinarian and make Unsan approve of me. I'm sorry I kept all this from you, but though my motivations aren't as I first said, it doesn't change what we seek to do, and I hope you can keep depending on your I hope I can keep depending on your help. Not manipulation. For most situations, I prefer manipulation over waste not to. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Yeah, still here in front of Raoulf, where we continue our Culinarian quest for Stormblood. Teach a man to make fish. Serenia, I'm glad to see you again. After Unsan tore my noodles to shreds, I went back and practiced until I could produce the body he said they were lacking. As for the broth, I made it again and again until I could create something to your standard, and reliably. But with these two things perfected, by my definition at any rate, I'm now offering udon on our menu. It was a lot of work, but it was well worth the effort, for the dish is proving popular not only among Domans, but adventurers as well. There's no time to be patting ourselves on the back. We've got more Far Eastern dishes to explore. My sights are set on something called sushi. Little mounds of rice toppled with raw fish. Simply as it sounds, ask any Domans and they tell you it's an indulgence of the highest order. Not certain where to begin, I consulted Anzu, who told me that this dish is nigh impossible to make without training under an honest-to-God's master. This means a trip to Hingashi, where it originated. But as you know, I have a responsibility to the restaurant. Ravenna would never permit me to leave long enough to make the journey. It pains me to ask such a big favor of you, but will you go to Higashi in my stead and learn the basics of sushi making? Alright. I'm in your debt. I don't know what I would do without you, my friend. Now, according to Anzu, one of the realm's foremost sushi chefs works in the port city of Kugane at an inn called the Bokairo. You do well to seek out this inn. While you are abroad, I'll round up all the ingredients in preparation for your return. And with that, I bid you a safe journey. Okay, I want Far East, Higashi, Kugane. Karaku? Come on all. Burns, cuts, embarrassing rashes. There's not that the mystical waters of Bokaizen hot springs cannot heal. Oh, you seek not healing but a meeting with our sushi chef. Well, 'tis true that we're known no less for our waters than we are for our cuisine. Our guests journey hither from far and wide to partake of the heavenly morsels prepared by Chef Shamoji. His dedication to his craft is such that he insists upon gathering the ingredient himself. As a matter of fact, that is what he is doing right at this moment. These outings usually keep him away for a good while, and I cannot rightly say when he might return. If you're in some hurry, you might consider searching for him out in the Ruby Sea. He favors the water near the Isle of Beko for his fishing, and unique as his appearance is, you ought to find him without trouble, assuming you're a strong swimmer with this. Just a bit north of a Kojin settlement? It appears. Now we need to find the chef. Yeah, you just cost me a plump maguro. Whoever you are, this had better be good. Aye, I'm Shamoji. Shelled or unshelled, there's nary a finer sushi chef in all the land. Now what business have you that you simply must disturb me at my fishing? You wish to learn sushi making? I don't teach my craft to any small, for it comes swimming up, and you are as small as they come. But the fishing is bad this day. I shall return to the inn. Our business is over. Do not even think to follow me. Think I give up that easily? You again? I thought I told you not to follow me. I'm not going to teach you my craft, so get you gone. Well, fancy seeing you here, Serenia. The mere sight of you brings back the memory of your most succulent Okeanis. Ah! Delamont, I came to sample the Bokairo's famous sushi, but the chef was regrettably absent. Just as I was about to leave, however, who should I spy but you? And if I heard correctly, you are here to study sushi making. Pleased I am to see that your hunger for learning remains voracious as ever. But Master Delamont, forgive me my absence. Give me but a moment and I shall prepare the finest selection of sushi in the house. Never mind that, my friend. I should be much obliged were you to initiate my dear Serenia here in the ways of your craft. Should her qualification be a concern, know that she scored a perfect 10 in my contest. A perfect 10? If it Delamont door, but that surpasses even... Very well. If you're good enough for Master Delamont, then you're good enough for me. Then it's settled. Happy learning, Serenia, and when next we meet I look forward to sampling the Far Eastern fruits of your learning. Come then, apprentice. I shall pound the foundation of sushi making into you. To master the basics in so short a time, small wonder Master Doman approves of you. Most a pity you are leaving so soon. A mere 10 years under me and you could call yourself a master, but for now I shall content myself in the knowledge that you will spread the joys of sushi to Eorzea. Farewell, apprentice. And back to Revenant's Hall, halfway across the world. Serenia, welcome back. It's good to see you again and wise in the ways of sushi for your time in Ningashi. While you were away, we saw to procuring the finest ingredients available. Now, while the seafood is still fresh, you must impart to me all you've learned of sushi making. I see, you can't just slap raw fish on the top of rice and call it sushi. Nay, you need to draw out the natural flavors of the ingredients and bring them together in a harmonious whole. Truly, Far Eastern cuisine is deceptive in its simplicity. Thanks for the detailed explanation, my friend. I'll try my hand at making sushi at once and have a local Doman sample it. And this time, I call for Anzu and her father as well. Unsan was an accomplished chef, and if my handiwork meets with his approval, then there's no doubting I'm on the right track. But to prepare so many portions on my first try is admittedly difficult. I'm sorry, Serenia, but will you help me out? A single serving would be enough. We have all the necessary ingredients right here. As always, if you need more of something, Poppin can furnish you with it. And with that, let us both get to work. And... Bugger me, but sushi is tricky even with guidance. Are you done with yours then? Great. Took all my concentration and no less patience, but I somehow managed to finish mine as well. If you could go ahead to the terrace area, I'll go and inform our taste testers that sushi is served. Anzu and their father should be along any moment now. Gods. But this is nerve-wracking. What is this? You expect me to partake of sushi made by an Eorzean? Come now, father. It looks delicious. Give it a chance and try it at the very least. Serenia's sushi is superb. To be sure, you have years of training ahead of you before you can compare to the masters of our land, but to produce such quality in Eorzea is a praiseworthy accomplishment. Rolls, on the other hand, shoddy rubbish. It is sushi in naught but appearance, a pale imitation bereft of depth, unfit to be placed before a customer. But that's only natural. Short of having a kami given gift, one cannot hope to make something so exacting as sushi to any satisfactory degree with naught but basic training. You may not have a talent of Serenia, but that is not a failing. Though your sushi is more akin to a humble rice ball, I can taste the effort that went into its making. For all its flaws, I do not mislike it. You approve of my sushi? By me and Anzu? Never. You plainly misunderstand why I do not approve of you. It has not to do with your being a lowly adventurer or a mediocre culinarian? Nay, it is because you're not one of us. Ours is the blood of Yansha, a proud line and pure, and only a man of equally pure lineage is fit for my only daughter. You are unfit, but it is through no fault of your own. Consider Far Eastern cuisine. It owes its greatness to its purity, to the fact that it developed free of outside influence. So too do I wish it to be for my line. Surely you understand? Father, I can't believe what I'm hearing. If you not approve of us, then I have no part in your line. I understand. I'll go back to being an adventurer. Wolf, no. Let him go, Anzu. It wasn't meant to be. I will give you some time alone. And I can see where the next step is going. The next quest will be that we combine something of Eorzean and Far Eastern cuisine to prove there is flavor in that too. How could he give up so easily on his cooking? On us? Nay, that is not the Rolf I know. I believe in him. Whatever it is he means to do, he has his reason. I'm certain of it. I beg of you, Serenia, please lend him your aid as you have thus far. If you hurry, you may still find him in the kitchen. I have a bit of showing you my worst moments, don't I? As I said, I'm going back to being an adventurer, but know that I haven't given up on Anzu. Her father's claim about the purity of Far Eastern cuisine. Something about it tugs at my mind, and I need some time to ponder it. It may be there's a chance I can make Unsan reconsider his stance. The odds are long, but I'm nothing if not persistent. And should the need arise, I hope that I can rely on your help again. A way to a father's heart. You will recall Unsan's word about how Far Eastern cuisine developed without outside influence? From the moment he uttered them, they've been tugging at my mind. I've given the claim much thought and I've had myself disinclined to agree. And the basis for this is the very first Far Eastern dish I ever had, which Anzu made for me. Sukiyaki it's called, it's a hearty dish of meat and vegetables simmered in a shallow pot. The moment I tasted it, I was overcome with a sense of nostalgia. Like many Alamegans, I'm a war orphan. I left my homeland when I was little and I remember nothing of my time there. Nothing at all. Save for the taste of a certain hearty stew, and Anzu's sukiyaki was exactly like it. The similarities can't be a mere coincidence. Nay, there has to be a connection between Far Eastern and Alamegan cuisine. If I can just prove it, Anzu's father might be moved to reconsider our union. There's no guarantee, of course, but for my Anzu it's worth a try. Now, as you can see, I'm an adventurer again, free to go wherever I want, whenever I want, and then I intend to go to a village in the peaks called Alagiri. In former times it thrived as a trading hub with the east. There I'm going to track down the stew of my memory and try to learn whether Alamigo might have shared a culinary history with the Far East. You've already journeyed to the other side of the world for me and I can't rightly ask any more of you, but if you're still willing to help me, then please come to Alagiri. You came, thank the gods. I thought the fiends in the area were fierce, but the people here might be even fiercer. But I'm ready to face them now when you're here. I can't thank you enough. Let's split up and ask the villagers about the stew. We'll meet again here when we're done. Stew? Does it look like I know anything about thriving stews? I just eat whatever the hell's put in front of me. Don't care much for stew, sorry. If you ask me, the only way to cook meat is to roast it to a crisp. Meat and vegetables shimmered in a shallow pot. What you describe sounds a lot like buckler stew, a traditional Alamigan dish. It was born when soldiers in the field took to using their bucklers in place of pots, cooking meat in them with wine and various seasonings. It was popular in the past, but under imperial rule it became a rare indulgence. I had no luck, Serenium. No one I spoke with knew anything about my stew. I found one. Buckler stew? Yes, that was its name. Damn, but even your investigative skills are first rate. I'm happy to say, though, that my own inquiries weren't completely fruitless either. I managed to track down a fellow who's versed in history. Let's go and ask him what he knows about trade between Alamigo and Doma. I know some few things about our nation's history owing to my time working at the Royal Palace. What is it you wish to know? It is true Alamigo traded with nations to the east prior to imperial rule, but as far as I'm aware this extended only as far as the Near East, to Razatan. So there was no contact between us and Doma? None at all? No, even if it isn't direct, there has to be some sort of connection. For example, Razatan could have been a waypoint for the dish. But if I want to verify this, I'm going to have to go all the way over there. Perhaps you needn't go so far, for there is a Hunnish fellow among us who came to Eorzea years ago. You could try asking him first. I saw him heading outside the village a short while ago. Elderly as he is, he can't have gone far. Thank you. Serenia, let's go and look for this man. No sign of him. Ah, help! Somebody! Oh shite, he's in trouble. My life flashed before my eyes. Still got it. What little I had at any rate. Would have been a stroll through the woods for you, but I can't let you do all the work. You've done more than your fair share already. Besides, I wanted to show that I'm not completely hopeless. I owe you my life. I was so focused on my harvesting I didn't notice what killed you incoming. You look a mite pale, lad. Are you hurt? Just my bones and organs. I'm already on the mend, I assure you. More importantly, I take it you're the gentleman who came from Razatan? I'm sorry if it seems sudden, but while you're still there, did you ever hear about a dish called buckler stew? Hear about it? I love this stuff. Ever since traders brought it over from Alamigo, it's been an enduring favorite in my homeland. As a matter of fact, it's the reason I came to be here, though I won't bore you with the details. So it was introduced to Razatan after all. Tell me, do you know if buckler stew also made its way to Doma? That it did, and it's a tale all know well. A Doman merchant journeyed to Razatan to buy spices, you see, and chanced to sample the stew. It was love at first taste. So enamored was he of it, he decided to open a restaurant back home and started buying up all the shallow pots he could find. Alas, these pots proved too heavy to take back, and he left them all at the pier and said that he'd make do with spades. Spades, you say? The name sukiyaki can be translated to spade grill, and it's said to come from the fact that you grill the meat on a spade. Ha! I knew there was a connection. Sukiyaki, so that's what they call it. Well, by whatever name it's known, all this talk has given me a fierce hunger for it. There's not for it but to make some right now. You're going to make buckler stew? Would you mind teaching me the recipe? Tell me more about its spread to the Far East. Oh, you'd indulge an old man with your company? Well, if you insist. Who am I to argue? Come along then, and I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I can take it from here, Serenia. Leave the learning to me. I'll join you back at Revenant's Toll when I'm done. Thanks again for all your help. Serenia, perfect timing. I just returned myself with the recipe for buckler stew freshly etched into my noggin. I begged Miss Ravenna for the use of my old kitchen, and surprisingly, she allowed it, 12 bless her. With that, I can set about making the buckler stew in order to win Ansu's father over. Here, I have one last favor to ask of you, my friend. I need you to prepare a serving of Doman sukiyaki. It's a relatively simple affair. You take meat, vegetables, and shimmer them in a broth of dashi and Far Eastern condiments. Though I needn't remind you that Far Eastern cuisine can be deceptive in its simplicity. Anyway, here's all the ingredients you need, and Poppin has more set aside. My future with Ansu and as a culinarian both ride on your success. Please make me the best Doman sukiyaki you can. Making the buckler stew is strangely comforting. The sight, the smell, even the sound may take me back to bygone days. But to get back to the present day, how's the Doman sukiyaki coming along? Well, a mere waft is enough to tell me this sukiyaki is a class of its own, and my buckler stew is ready as it'll ever be. Come, let us serve them to Ansu and her father on the terrace. Is this a joke? In our culture, sukiyaki is shared only between family and dear friends. You are neither. If you think this will win my favor, you are sadly mistaken. No, please allow me to explain. Serenia made the sukiyaki while I made a different type of stew. Different, I say, however. What's this? It resembled sukiyaki, it appears not to be Far Eastern. That's because it's a traditional Alamigan stew. If it pleases you, please sample and compare it with a sukiyaki. An Alamigan stew, you say? I know not what you're playing at, but the aroma is undeniably appetizing. Ah, very well. By the kami, not only do they look alike, they also taste alike. But the ingredients, they are different, are they not? You're right, Father. There may be subtle differences, but no matter how you look at it, this stew is sukiyaki. What's the meaning of this? Did sukiyaki somehow find its way to Alamigo? No, Unsan-san, it's the opposite. It's the Alamigan dish buckler stew that found its way to the Far East and eventually became sukiyaki. Though Alamigo and Doma had no common history, we had a common trading partner in the Near East. Originating in my homeland, buckler stew first crossed the seas to Razatan, from where it crossed the seas once more to Doma, where it was recreated using local ingredients to become sukiyaki. It must be noted that this took place as a relatively recent period in Doma's long history. Up to that point, meat was predominantly grilled to harness the natural flavors, or minced and used in dumplings. While stews weren't uncommon, they were reserved mainly for seafood. But with sukiyaki's arrival, new possibilities blossomed for meat dishes. Father, you told me that Far Eastern cuisine owes its greatness to the fact that it developed free of outside influence, but it owes its greatness to no less to what it adopted from other cultures. Why are you still standing there? Sit down and join us if the food gets cold. Shared between family. I don't know how I can ever repay you, Serenia. Thanks to you, I managed to do the impossible and win over Unzan. He finally approves of me and Anzu, and we plan to be bonded at the earliest opportunity. I'm going to resume my post at the cafe, serving Far Eastern dishes, of course, and hang up my adventurous hat for good. I suppose you'll continue both adventuring and cooking, and I don't doubt you'll keep on succeeding at both. But no matter how high you climb or how far you roam, know that you're always welcome here. That was incredibly sweet. So, now we brought the couple together. The children are still playing hide and seek. Serenia, great to see you. The cafe is doing well, I'm happy to say. Folks are coming from far and wide just for our Far Eastern dishes. Things are positively rosy with Anzu and her father too. Life's good all in all, I have nothing to complain about. Well, to be completely honest, my fire for adventure has flared up again. And in my spare time, I've been off collecting tombstones with the old crowd. Needless to say, not a word of this to anyone. As long as you stay in the area. Anyway, yeah, let's end the episode here. Until next time, when we play more Final Fantasy XIV, I'm Mace, and don't get lost.